Welcome to Tag Backsmiths, day 2 of entire month of Tag Back. So if you're watching this video, there's another one before it that sets everything up. Also, if you want one of these cool Nerf themed holiday sweaters, this was sent to me by fun.com. I'll have a link in the description. They didn't pay me anything, but they sent it to me. It's comfortable, it's official Nerf, and it fits the season. It's not very often that on Tag Back, the show where we take a look at a blaster from the past and see what it can offer us today in the present, that I'm given a blaster that I'm just speechless about, that I absolutely love, even though I know most of you won't appreciate what's going on here. Seriously, this thing's from 1995, and it shoots an ammo that isn't very common, but my goodness, I love everything about it, and it has design decisions in it that I wish designers today would use. I didn't expect to jump into Fallon's box again so soon, but I have to talk about the 1995 Milton Bradley Spitfire Space Shooter disc launcher. Now, we've talked about these weird, like, gas station, grocery store, off-brand blasters that shoot those little foam peach ring looking things a couple of times in the past. And yeah, this thing isn't gonna hit 150 feet and absolutely take your eye out. It's almost impossible, really. I think this is one of the safest blasters I've ever seen, and yet there's a lot about it that I love. Now, if you go looking for Milton Bradley disc shooter, there's like 400 different options. They really did use that name for pretty much everything, and there's every design under the sun. They all look relatively the same. I'm not sure if they're all full auto like this one is, but the Spitfire is full auto. It's a full auto disc shooting pistol. Again, that's not even that uncommon of a thing, really. It's just the thought process of this design that really does it for me. This poor little thing is powered by 2 AA batteries. It has an on-off switch on the back and 2 tiny grips on the bottom of it that, thanks to my small hands, are not the most comfortable thing in the world, but they totally work, although I don't know why you'd use the front one, although I like the option. And this is the ammunition it fires, one of those foam peach rings. Now, these are still a readily available ammo type. However, these older ones, at least I think these are older ones, are a bit larger and thicker than the ones you typically get. However, I have tested this with newer foam discs and it works just fine. The hopper is pretty ingenious. It's got a spool in the middle that locks around the foam disc a little bit, and it's got actual locking tabs that disengage when you twist the hopper into the top of the blaster. And with the original foam discs, each hopper will hold 20. And I said each hopper there, and some of you may have guessed, but the other thing on this blaster is another hopper. And not enough blasters have onboard magazine or hopper storage, and that is something that really confuses me. Just this little setup right here, fully loaded with the included ammo, would be 40 rounds in a full auto package that's this big. You could put this pretty much anywhere on your body. Now, of course, the range isn't all that good, but it is full auto with a decent rate of fire, and those little foam discs like to hang out in the air for quite some time. Power switch on the back is really easy for me to reach with my thumb, and it's got one singular flywheel, again, much like the Nerf Vortex Nitron. Simply pull the trigger and it fires. And yeah, that wasn't the most impressive thing ever, and quite frankly, it's not trying to be. The ammo weighs practically nothing, so really it's gonna struggle to get any kind of high velocity out of it, and it's also only powered by 2 AA batteries. And to reload, you just twist, lift off the hopper, and you can put the second one on there and reload extremely quickly. Now, this is never going to compete at your typical Nerf game. It's just not meant to. But cover fire, and more importantly, cover fire when your enemies are either close or coming directly at you. So this thing would be a tactical monster in Humans vs. Zombies, or HVZ. In HVZ, you have a lot of targets moving towards you, trying to tag you. And if they're coming towards you, you don't need to have high velocity. You need good, reliable, high rate of fire with large capacity magazines. And this thing is absolutely tiny. And more importantly, it has another reload stashed on top of it, and there's a lot of applications for that. I would wish my blasters would have onboard magazine storage. There are a couple, obviously, and some Nerf N-Strike removable stock attachments that have a little bit of onboard storage, but I would like a blaster that's designed around the idea of keeping extra mags on it. My inspiration for this would be something like the G11. That way when I grab my blaster, I just have everything on it that I would need. And better yet, in the Spitfire's case, it's stupidly easy to reload on the fly. And of course, they won't really fall out all that easily, which is really nice. All this power into a small package that could very easily be modified. Now, of course, I don't exactly know how the mechanism in the Spitfire works, but it does at least have one flywheel. So changing out that motor, maybe getting a new wheel for it, there might be a 3D printed option, or it could be the same diameter as a standard NERF wheel. We don't really know right now. It could be tuned to hit a little bit harder and faster if you so chose. But the other modification that I'd really like to try, although I won't touch this one because it's the only one I have right now, is the fact that, well, these rings are very similar to another more modern type of NERF ammo, and that is the Vortex disc. Sure enough, not only does the Vortex disc fit, not only does the NERF Vortex disc fit in the feeding thing, but it will attempt to fire it full auto, pretty much no problem whatsoever. The issue is that the opening for the blaster is just not big enough. Now, the top part of this shell is a separate piece, so if you really wanted to, I feel like it wouldn't be that hard to carve out a channel that would allow it to fit this kind of ammunition, and it looks like it's just big enough that the flywheels and everything will still work with it. Now, these are considerably thicker than your standard foam dart rings, so that could be an issue, and really, if you wanted to, you could just take the nitron and convert it into something like this, but this is much smaller. A nitron will be considerably bigger even as a pistol, but for some people, I won't be surprised if many of you are looking for one of these now, because the ammo is dirt cheap and it's just such a cool design. And again, I implore you designers out there, if you're working on projects, do not overlook the idea of onboard magazine storage, especially when you have something as compact as this. Surprisingly enough, the Spitfire does offer somebody something in space year 2022, which I doubt was even considered almost 3 decades ago. Best $5 ever spent. I love this thing, and let me know what you think about the Milton Bradley Spitfire space shooter down in that comment section below. Am I just really grossly infatuated with something that is completely useless, or do you see what I'm talking about and believe this would actually be a competent blaster in certain situations? I love this thing, and now I have to find a second one because I actually do want to modify one of these. It's so cool. I love this thing, and thank you so much for Fallon for sending this thing out to me. And of course, for you watching, this was day 2 of Tag Backsmiths, and there will be a day 3 tomorrow, and of course, for the rest of the month. But I'm Walcom S7. Thank you very much for watching this video. Chances are if you got to the end, you like what I do here, so please hit like, hit subscribe, ring the bell, leave a comment, do all that algorithmic garbage to help the channel grow so you can help our hobby grow. And I'm almost at that 200,000 subscribers, of which the month of Tag Back is a celebration of. So thank you very much, and of course, I hope to see you tomorrow for an entirely different video.